Hey everyone, today we're going to discuss the silent killer of small-time farming, and we're going to discuss how to avoid it. Now, there's several videos out there that talk about the silent killer of this and the silent killer of that, but I really want to discuss with you this topic from our viewpoint in a chance that it will help you guys that are really wanting to raise some farm animals, wanting to have a nice little homestead, or wanting to have a small type farm. So come on along. We're going to be baling hay today, and I'll talk to you about that subject while we're getting this hay baled. From my viewpoint, I will tell you that I believe that the number one killer or silent killer of homesteading, farming, whatever you want to call it, is definitely stress. So let's talk about what causes stress on a farm or in your homestead or whatever you want to call it. In some ways it's real surprising because you get into this for the opposite reasons. So what could those stressors be? Well, I think the big thing is when people are starting a homestead or they're starting a farm, they get this idea that they have to have this, they have to have cattle, they got to have hogs, they got to have chickens, they got to have a fancy barn, or they got to have some kind of barn, they've got to have tractors, and they got to have hay equipment, and they've got to have all this stuff, and they start stressing over not having this, not having that. And there's ways of doing and accomplishing those goals without stressing over them. You can accomplish those goals, but you're going to have to slow down a little bit, I believe. And I'll give you an example of what we had. We had an opportunity we raised registered mini Herefords, cattle. And we had an opportunity to pick up a couple of heifers and a bull. Well, we didn't have the fencing up yet. We didn't have a barn or any kind of cover for them and all. And where we were going to keep them, they were just out in the open. Now, that's not a big deal in some states, but here in Texas, as hot as it gets where we live, they got to have at least some trees or something for shade. So we went ahead and started moving towards purchasing those animals. Well, that caused a little bit of stress because now you got to have your fence up at a certain time. You got to have some type of cover for them at a certain time. And so that put stress on that situation. But the way I looked at it is I'm going to get the cows or the cattle, but I'm not going to kill myself over rushing to make this fabulous barn or to do, every little bit of fencing I got to do. So we put up the fencing that we needed at the time, which was a lot of fence. It's, man, I don't even know how much fence that is. I'm sitting here looking at it myself, but you got this fence line here that goes all the way down this way. And then you got the cross fencing and all that. But what lowered the stress level for us was we just said, okay, we're going to get them on this date, and this is what we're going to accomplish in the meantime. And we made it so that we weren't rushed. Yeah, we had a date. We had something that was going to cause us to run into a wall if we had problems, but we paced ourselves. And I think a lot of that, and that's probably not the best example, but I see a lot of people that are starting farms or they're talking about homesteads and all, and it's almost like they're competing with the Joneses. They've got to have this, they got to have that, and you do not have to have all of that stuff all at once. And what's your dream? Is your dream to have an ultimate homestead where you can take care of yourself and your family with better quality food, better quality meat? Are you able, you're going to be able to sustain yourself on your own farm or homestead? If that's the case, you don't need to rush into anything that you can't accomplish right away. So if you want cattle, then that cattle, you might not get the number of head that you want in the meantime. Just if you're worried about meat and you want to raise your own, well, you're not going to start out raising your own and be able to accomplish that in a year. We're talking multi-years, because those cows have to have steers or young heifers if you're going to process those. They're going to have those, but those need to get a little bit older and a little bit heavier, and you got to feed them out and all. So it's going to take time anyway. So instead of buying cattle in the beginning, get you a couple of steer or one steer and raise them up and put weight on them and get your food that you need to. And then when you can afford to buy a couple of more, then do that until you can build out your cattle where you're growing your own meat, and processing it. And you're not buying steer every year to process. Same thing with chickens. A lot of people think they need 30, 40, 50 chickens in the beginning. You don't. You don't need that many chickens. Start out small, get you, 5, get you 10, see what the process is for dealing with them, and grow from there. Try not to overwhelm yourself, because then you're like, okay, I got to have this much feed and we don't have the money for that. I've got this, and you force yourself to tend to those animals more than you're tending to your own health. And you just got to slow down and don't try to keep up with the Joneses or every other YouTube channel you see out there. Some of these YouTube channels, they make it look like they're a small channel or a small farm and all, and they're really squared away, but it took them years to get to where they're at. They did not do that overnight. So we have a tendency to look at these things and say, that's what I need to do, and I need to do all of that right now. I will tell you that when we bought this place, it's just the house and it's 45 acres, just bare land. Well, we put up all the fencing, that we needed. We're still putting up fence. There's going to be plenty of videos putting up fence. But I stress sometimes over that because I'm not getting my fence up fast enough. And I've got probably 1.25 more miles of fence to put up around this place, right? I'm talking about all the strands and all that other kind of stuff. I got a lot of fence to put up, a lot of posts to put in the ground, a lot of T-posts to buy and pound in the ground, a lot of wire to stretch. But I can't do it all at once. It's just me and my son and my wife. And a lot of times my son's dealing with college and my wife's working, and I'm retired now. So it's just me doing a lot of this stuff sometimes. And I'm not going to kill myself putting up fence. And I'm going to get, if I want to put up 300 or 400 foot of fence in a day, then I'll put that up. If I only want to put up 100, I'm going to put up 100. I'm not trying to keep up with the Joneses. So I think a lot of the stress is caused by what we see on TV, what we see on YouTube, what we see on Facebook and all, and we think, oh, we need to have that right now. I need to have that right now. And you get all worked up, and that's what kills your homestead or your farm, because ultimately you end up in debt, you can't pay for anything, or you're just so mentally and physically exhausted that you can't tend to everything like you need to. So I think one of the stressors is just expanding too soon, trying to get all of this stuff at once. And I think if you take your time and prioritize things on a list, cattle might not be your first thing like it was for us. I mean, we've had chickens and all, so the next progression for us was not hogs. We wanted cattle. That's what I was raised around and all, with my grandfather and my great-grandfather. So I wanted to get cattle in, so we chose the minis for my wife. but we want to expand it to the point to where every year we're processing our own meat. So we want to be able to process our own food. We've got that in our gardens now. We got that with our chickens, and we want to get that to that point with our beef and things like that. So we're working towards that. That's where we're turning right now, is moving into having our own cattle, to where we can have enough time to where we can process 1 or 2 a year and take care of our family and friends and things like that. So we had to dial it back just a little bit in order to accomplish everything, because you can get overwhelmed. So one of the things that I have is we've got a lot of land that we have hay on. Well, I don't have hay equipment. We've got 2 tractors. One I've had for like 14 years, and the other one we bought a couple of years ago, and we invested in that tractor to be our generational tractor. And it's always going to be here at the farm. My son will have it, and his son will have it. So we have that, but I don't know if you guys know anything about hay equipment, but you're not going to get in brand new hay equipment for cheap. I mean, we started pricing things out and what we wanted to buy and all. I mean, you're easy pushing $200,000, and that's just crazy. So we're buying used equipment off Facebook Marketplace or wherever we can find it that's decent. We got our hay rake yesterday, and we bought that off of Facebook Marketplace, and it is an old-timey rake. And I believe, don't hold me to this, but I got to look everything up. I think it's made in the 50s. So we bought it. So we're slowly buying things that's going to improve and get us to a point to where we can bale our own hay and all, and we don't have to pay somebody to come in to bale the hay that's on our land. One of the other stressors is money, and that's a stressor for everybody, believe me. But if you get yourself in debt trying to have all of this stuff, then you're going to work to maintain all of that stuff to pay for it, and you're not going to be happy having all that stuff. You might think you're happy, but you're going to have to work, and you're not going to be free on your home and farms, homestead and farm. So think about that before you jump into a bunch of debt. And I'm not preaching at anybody. I'm just giving you advice and that I see that happens to a lot of people. We talk to a lot of people that are trying to get self-sustainable and all, and they end up in debt, and they're unable to enjoy their place, and they've got to go to work, and now they can't work their gardens as much as they want to, or they can't tend the animals as much as they want to, so it becomes burdensome for them, and before long they give up. You just burn out, and that's why I say, man, it's a silent killer. It really is. It'll take the life out of anything. So to avoid that, don't put yourself under a lot of pressure of having to have all brand new stuff or having everything at once. If you want different animals, we want hogs, chickens, and cows, start out getting chickens, then get you a hog if you want to. Work that, see how that works into it. If you can expand from there, then expand from there. If you can't, just maintain what you got, and then when you feel comfortable expand. I believe that's what's stressing everybody out, and that's the silent killer on these homesteads and all. So don't chase the Joneses. Whoever the Joneses are, never figured out who they are, but don't chase them. Supposedly they have everything. I don't feel like I need to keep up with anybody named Jones. I just think you just do what you can do and try to stay as debt-free as you can. And if you got to wait till another year to pick up a second piece of equipment or to pick up another animal or something like that, it's better to wait till you can deal with it and have everything you need, and everything will work out. So that's my viewpoint on the silent killer of homesteads or farms. So I believe that's the silent killer, guys. I think that's what sinks most of these farms and all, is we get in to a rhythm to where we've got to have everything at once, and we overwhelm ourselves with that, and we're not able to take care of the farm or the animals and all. And then next thing you know, the farm's going under. So, man, you guys can do it. Just take your time, and build that thing up slow. That's what we've learned. And you just can't jump in with both feet and buy everything at once. So take your time and buy that, and you guys can be, listen, there's no reason you can't be successful. We appreciate you guys watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm gonna put links to the screen on some other videos. You guys have a blessed day.